Okay. Hi, I'm Jennifer Anderson, Superstar Director of Radiant Rockstars. And it's Tuesday night, RockStar Rally night, my favorite night of the week, where I get to spend it with all of you. And I was just sharing how I don't really have a specific topic for tonight or a specific title, but it's more of a heart story and more of a, hey, here's what's on my heart. Here's what I've been going through, because I feel like probably some of you have been to, and in fact, I know some of you have been to because of conversations I've had or text messages I've had with you. And there's a lot going on in the world and in Scentsy. And how many of you feel maybe a little bit tired? Okay. How many of you feel overwhelmed? Okay. How many of you feel anxious at times? Okay. So in case you can't see the screen, and for those of you watching on YouTube, like almost every hand in our room is up or has been up or went up for one or all of those things. And tonight I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit, and what does that feel like, and how do you build and run a business? How do you grow your business even feeling that way or going through those things, or when life isn't normal or perfect, or wrenches are thrown in, or things that you don't expect kind of come your way? So the reality is, like, I don't even really know what normal looks like. And does anyone have a consistent life where everything is the same week after week? Anyone? No. But I think the problem is we plan our business and we hope to build our business around a life that is consistently the same week after week after week. And then when that isn't presented to us, we get disappointed, right? Or when that doesn't happen in our life, we freak out, or we say, I can't do this, or this isn't for me, or I guess this just won't work. Or I guess I can't get that promotion with Scentsy, or I guess I'm just not going to make annual sales, or I guess annual mentor isn't for me, or like incentive is out the window. Like, we just say all these things when we have basically set ourselves up for failure from the very beginning by setting this expectation that our life is never going to have any bumps, and that our business is never going to have any bumps, and that it's just going to be smooth sailing, and I can just do this like this. And when we want that for our business, it's okay to want that. But I want to challenge you to maybe change your desire a little bit and focus in on how you can work and build your business around a life that changes constantly, around a world that changes constantly. So some struggles with this: when your life and world change constantly, one of the biggest struggles is consistency. How many of you feel like you struggle with consistency? I hear it time and time again across the board. You were really, really hot one week, and the next week, right? And then because you were that week and you were hot the week before, you're comparing this week to the week before. And then so week number 3 totally sucks, because you're like, man, I just really suck and I blew it. And you end up in this cycle, right, of self-deprecating talk, and we think bad about ourselves, and like, oh, this isn't for me and I can't do this, right? And the reality is, we have to be flexible enough to be able to take what life hands us. And we have to be flexible enough to be able to take what our business hands us. And thank God for Scentsy, because any other job or company or anything like that in the world would never be able to ebb and flow with life like this business opportunity does for you. Okay? Thank God for Scentsy. When life gets hard, or your kids need a little bit more attention, or you need a little bit more attention, like you need to take care of your body or go to the gym or meal plan, or you need to rest, or you need to take a bath or read a book, right? If you need more attention, or your kids, or your house needs more attention, or your spouse needs more attention, right? When any of these things happen and you have a regular 9 to 5 or a regular job, like there's no flex there. There's no flex. But with Scentsy, you can kind of move priorities to the side and adjust with the ebb and flow of life. And I want to say that I'm so grateful for that part of this business, because there are times when my life demands a lot of time or a lot of attention or a lot of emotional attention. And if I had to work a regular job, I mean, I'd freaking lose my mind. You know what I mean? And probably some of you who have to work a regular job or who work a regular job can identify with that, because there's no flex. So what I want to tell you is, and this may not be everyone's dream or idea or goal, and that's totally okay. But if you can build your Scentsy business to the point where you don't have to work another 9 to 5, or you get the option to only work Scentsy, or you can choose just to do this, you'll have all the flex that you want in the world. You will have all the wiggle room. You will get to make all the choices, and you won't get to have to feel so stressed or so overwhelmed or so anxious because of the demands of your job. Now, don't get me wrong that you can be in this business and also feel stressed and anxious and have demands, right? Often they're demands that we put on ourselves. Often stress, anxiety, and feeling demands are a result of us looking at someone else's journey and thinking that we have to do it the way they did. Or thinking that they joined at the same time and they're farther along than me. Or why did they have this? I feel like I'm doing all the right things. Why am I not where they are? So often when we have any of those feelings in our business, it's because we've started looking left or looking right, and we stopped looking down at our own road that we're walking. And I'm guilty of it too. Okay? But this is basically an accountability check. Saying where are you looking left, and where are you looking right, and where have you stopped looking at your own road? So I say all that to say this: what is it that you really want in your business? What is it that you really want? If you know what you want, throw it in the chat. I'd love to see. What is it that you really want? What is it that you really want out of your life? What kind of life do you want to lead? What do you want it to look like? Maybe it's not leave your career and do Scentsy full time and have that flex. That's cool. I support you. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But what is it that you really want? And then 9 to 5 dropout, kick the time clock to the curb. You guys, I'm not kidding you. Those were some of my biggest motivations in building my business for all these years. Kicking the time clock to the curb, not having to answer to someone else, not having someone sign my check, own my time, own my life, financial freedom. A lot of these were the same reasons that I was building a business. I want to own my own business, quit my full-time job, be a stay-at-home mom, build a big savings account for your baby's future. Huge. Do you guys, I know people that before Scentsy had never even had a savings account. How many of you don't have a savings account or didn't before Scentsy? Scentsy can provide you with that comfort. A savings account is a form of comfort. A savings account is a form of self-care. And Scentsy can be that. My motivation was not only kicking the time clock to the curb and being my own boss and really having true freedom and not being responsible to have someone else sign my paycheck, but also, was having my husband able to be home. My husband used to work 6 days a week, and he'd leave the house at 8 o'clock, and he wouldn't get home till 8:30 at the earliest, 6 days a week for 10 years. Okay. We ate dinner every night at 9 p.m. every night. And some of you are like rolling into bed like that, like we just got to eat dinner together at 9 p.m. And then we, you know what I mean? 10:30, 11 o'clock, wake up, go to sleep, wake up and do the whole thing all over again every week. And that was a big part of my motivation too, was like, first it was take care of my time clock situation, but I want you to also know that you can take care of your time clock, but you can also take care of someone else's if you want to, because that's what I did. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'll continue to do. You know, you have to decide what you want, but then you have to ask yourself, is what I want compelling enough to make me get up and move? Is what I want compelling enough to make me work when it's hard? Is what I want compelling enough to make me work if I don't feel like it, or life isn't normal, or I've been thrown a curveball, or something hurt my feelings? Okay? Is what I want compelling enough? And if it's not compelling enough, if you're struggling with consistency, or you're letting things like hurt feelings, or I don't feel good, or I'm overwhelmed, or I'm stressed, or I'm anxious, which are very real, valid things. I want you to know that, very real, valid things. But you know what helps you get over those things? A very compelling reason to work. And if you're struggling with consistency, I'm going to tell you, it is sometimes it's discipline, but it is almost always a not enough compelling reason to work. Almost always, you don't know your true why. You don't know what you really want. So what is it that you really want? And is it compelling enough to make you work? You need to ask those two very serious questions. And then you decide at that point, okay, now what am I going to do to get there? How do I want to get it? What am I willing to give up? And what am I not willing to give up? I'll tell you that now you guys know, I just had my daughter, you know, she's almost 2. She'll be 2 in April. So I worked my business for 8 years with no kids. Working your business with kids and without kids is totally different. Okay, it is. Working your business with another job and without a job is totally different. Yes. When I started Scentsy, I was working 2 other jobs and I had no kids. Okay. But I gave up a lot of things for many years in my business to build the kind of business where I didn't have to give up things. Does that make sense? I gave up a lot of things for many years to give myself many more years of time that I didn't have to give up things. So I gave up nights out with friends. I gave up like going to events, or like, you know, like let's say it's the fall and you want to go to the pumpkin patch. I gave up going to the pumpkin patch because I had a booth at the pumpkin patch and I was slinging Scentsy at the pumpkin patch. So I didn't get to put on a flannel shirt and go pick pumpkins and take cute photos for Instagram, but I did sell $2,000 in Scentsy and meet new contacts and build my business that day, right? I gave up a lot of things. I gave up sleep. I gave up time. You know, I gave up a lot of things for many years. But by doing that, you build a business where you don't have to give up things. You work so hard now so that later you can still work hard, but it's in a totally different way. And you actually have control over your time and your choices and your freedom and what you do and don't get to do. And I can't tell you how incredibly compelling that picture of a life was for me. For me, that was incredibly compelling. That life where I didn't have to give something up, or I didn't have to say no, or I could take my daughter out to lunch or to breakfast at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday because I felt like it, right? I didn't have to ask for that time off. Those of you who've been, I want to speak to two different groups of people. Those of you who've been with Sensi for a little bit, for a while, okay? Maybe you're a leader, you've been with Sensi for a year, 2 years, maybe you have a team. I want to ask you a couple questions. If you feel like you've lost your way, or you're struggling with consistency, or you just can't seem to get it right, or you just don't know where to pick up and start again because you stopped at some point, I want to ask you, did you stop having fun? Did you stop having fun? Because I think sometimes when we look left and we look right and we look at what other people are doing and we think we have to do what they do, and we implement all these things into our business that really don't build our business or that just make us feel bad about ourselves, there's nothing fun about that. And when you stop having fun, I think you forget that, like, you sell things that smell good, and that's the most fun job of all. You sell things that smell good. You sell things that smell good. Like, maybe you need to write that on your wall. Like, I sell things that smell good. So you remember that, like, this is lighthearted and fun, and this is Sensi. Are there things that you can do in Sensi to build an incredible, huge business that pay you for generations to come more money than you could ever imagine? Yes. And I hope you do those things, but you've got to remember to have fun. And so if you feel like you've stopped having fun, I want you to do this. I want you to write down the 3 things that you do in your business that are the most fun for you. Maybe it's making samples, maybe it's sending cards, maybe it's editing a video. I don't know. It's different for every person. I don't care if it's income producing or not. Okay. You guys know I'm all about income producing activities, and that's the only thing I think you should do in your business. But I want you to write down the top 3 things that you think are fun in your business, and I want you to do those this week. And then I want to make sure that you do at least one of those fun things every single week. I don't care what it is. Is it watching a training? Is it organizing something? Is it putting things into a binder? Is it labeling things? I don't care what it is. Making wax samples. I mean, I don't care. It can be whatever is fun for you. You can be Sensi crafts. You can make a wreath out of empty clamshells. I don't care. Like, whatever is fun for you, do that. Because, guys, like, life is too short to not enjoy this. Okay? And this business is way too fun to not be having a good time. Don't lose sight of what's fun. Leaders, those of you with a team, did you lose sight of what you really do, which is connect with people and empower them? It's not be someone's boss. It's not tell someone what to do. It's not expect results. It's not run reports. It's not coach, and if they don't listen, you get butt hurt. It's not any of those things. Leaders, your job is to connect and empower. Connect with people, get to know them, find out what's going on in their life, empower them to build a business in the way that they want to. Did you forget that that's what you do as a leader? Teamies, if you are a consultant and you don't have a team, are you expecting too much from your leader? Are you demanding too much from your upline? That can be a huge source of losing your way, of getting frustrated in your business. If you're new to Sensi, as in, let's say 6 months or less, don't forget to have fun forever and ever and ever and ever in your business. Always do things that are fun. Whatever you think is most fun. And I can't even tell you, okay? You have to decide what's most fun for you, because honestly, what's most fun for you is probably not what's most fun for me. That's because I am an Enneagram. Does anyone like the Enneagram personality types? Okay. I'm like obsessed. I really like it. I'm an 8 wing 9, which means having fun is really hard for me. I'm not a fun by nature kind of person. Okay. So having fun is like really stretching myself. So things that are fun for me are probably not fun for you. You can find fun in probably things that I'd be like, I'll just sit in the corner and sip iced coffee instead. Right? But maybe it's crafts. Maybe it's writing thank you notes. Maybe it's making a video. Maybe it's training yourself, reading a book, styling a warmer and taking a picture for Instagram. Maybe it's just smelling your testers. If smelling your testers is so fun for you, do that once a week. I'm not kidding you. Do it once a week. You guys, when we used to have home parties, okay? When we used to have home parties, I used to sit on the floor and smell testers with the guests for 10 years, no matter how long. You know how many times I've smelled black raspberry vanilla and clean breeze and vanilla bean buttercream and Luna? But I did it every single party, and every single party it reminded me that, hey, I sell something that smells good. Hey, I really do like this job. And that for me was fun. That for me was enjoyable. And that for me was sort of grounding in a way. Do something that's fun in your business for you every single week. Newbies, get accountable. Find someone to hold you accountable. Accountable to being consistent, accountable to ditching excuses, and accountable to having fun. Newbies, build a team to take with you. Build a team to take with you. Building a team is not as scary as you think if you don't have a team. It's not as scary as you think. It's a lot more fun than you think. And it's just about taking people with you and having a good time together. It's not more complicated than that. And guys, I feel like in our business, when we get overwhelmed, frustrated, anxious, it's because we've forgotten that we sell things that smell good. We've lost sight of simplicity. We've started looking left and looking right. We've started implementing things in our business that other people say we have to do to be successful. But you don't have to do to be successful any of those things that anyone's telling you to do. I just want you to know that. You have to do what works for you. Are there guiding principles? Of course. Simplicity, authenticity, generosity. Those are your guiding principles. Every time. Those are the Sensi core values. That's what we live and die by. That's how we build a business. Everything you do in business should be run through that simplicity, authenticity, generosity filter. Those are your guiding principles. Have fun. Take people with you. Don't forget to have a good time. And do what works for you and your business and your life with all of its ebbs and flows, with its hard times. Set yourself up for success in knowing that no 2 weeks of your life are ever going to look the same. No 2 months are ever going to look the same. And as long as you've done your best, whatever that looks like, as long as you've done your best, you have no reason to ever be disappointed in yourself or your team or your performance or your team's performance. Don't compare this week to last week or this month to last month. Don't worry about any of the previous months you've had or weeks you've had or days you've had. Guys, my last guiding principle that I'm going to leave you with is always be looking forward. Never look back. Never look back at what you did or who you were, because that doesn't determine who you're going to be. Who you're going to be is determined by the choices you make every single day. I think it was at a Sensi family reunion that Robin Benincasa, who is an athlete, she spoke and she said, don't look back. You're not going that way. And I was like, oh my gosh, if that ain't the gospel right there. So that's the last thing I want to leave you with tonight.